Hi, I'm Rowan.
And I'm Calvin.
And you're watching episode 24 of season 2 of In the Zone.
In the Zone.
Today we're going to be talking about the episode, the Rip Van Winkle Caper Twilight Zone episode. It's what we do. So,
it's our life.
We're gonna spoil the whole thing. So you should probably check it out beforehand so you don't get it spoiled for you.
The whole scoop.
The episode starts again in a desert. Saw this last week. It's a little
whatever.
It's becoming a little bit dry.
Ha!
There's like a truck and with a bunch of stuff. These guys are there and they're talking about how they have $1 million worth of gold.
They talk about the deal and like how it's gonna go down.
Yeah, they talked about how they did it, like how there's this one guy in the team, Farwell, who's like this mad scientist genius, and how he like gassed all these people in the train, and they vaguely talk about how they got the gold and all this stuff. They're like, we're gonna put some gold in a cave. So the scientist guy's explaining the plan to them. It's like, they're sort of like, it's the stupidest way to like explain the plot. It's like, oh yeah, I sort of forgot what we're gonna do. What is it? Like, you really think they would forget? I think it's a little late in the plan to be so hazy about the deets. The plan is, they're gonna be 4 Rip Van Winkles. They're gonna be in a little box, a gas comes through, puts them to sleep, they wake up 100 years later, they never explain why.
There's so much
they never explain why.
Yeah, they sort of do, vaguely.
Well, why?
So they can... So it's like, so nobody goes after them in the future, the police don't know about it in the future. In 100 years, so no one can go after them.
Why wouldn't they just find the cave?
The cave's hidden.
I guess it makes sense that they might I guess if they don't find the cave, but then they give up on it, then 100 years later when they have a ton of gold, no one's gonna think it's suspicious because I've forgotten about it. I guess it makes sense, but I don't remember them ever explaining it. And if they did, wow, then they did not explain it enough.
It wasn't very detailed.
Because it's like they're just sitting in they're doing it, and it's like why? Here's the thing. There are 4 guys, right? There's Farwell, DeCruz, Irby, and Brooks. Farwell and DeCruz are the only people talking. The only people with personalities.
Irby and Brooks talk.
They very rarely talk. They say stuff that doesn't really show their characters.
Yeah.
So it's obvious they're gonna get killed right away, which they do, spoiler alert, later on. But it's just dumb. It's very predictable. When you have these 2 characters, then these other 2 that are like, where should I put the gold? You know, that kind of thing.
I want the gold.
That would have been funny if Farwell and DeCruz died, and then the whole thing is about Irby and Brooks. That would actually be really funny. And
yeah, we don't do that.
It doesn't happen. DeCruz is sort of, his character is like sort of skeptical, and he's sort of mean.
He's backstabbing. He's like
yes.
the spoiler alert.
So they're like, okay, we'll wake up in approximately 100 years. It's gonna be 2061. Fade to black. Fade up. They're in the chambers, and then there's this boring scene that's filler. It's sort of interesting because it's like the procedures and stuff they have to do.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
Where it's like, oh, you gotta press this button, and then the gas will come in, and then
it's like otherwise, okay, so they just because otherwise it's like they just went to sleep.
Yes,
they have to do something.
But you could fade, and they're like already asleep, and you just assume that they did something. 100 years later, they wake up.
But it's like, did it work?
Yeah, the Cruz is mad because they're like, we don't have beards, we don't have long fingernails. But then Farwell is like, it worked because our body functions got stopped by the dang gas.
And then they're like, well, let's go out and see. So then they go out of the cave.
But the road's the same, and the Cruz is mad. He thinks it would be different, but whatever. They completely forget about Irby, as we did, I'm sure. I know I forgot about Irby. Who could?
I didn't. I was like,
where's
wasn't
Irby?
there another man there?
That's very surprising they remembered Irby. But anyways, they forgot Irby, forgettable man. So it's sort of actually cool how they forget Irby because it sort of shows how caught up they are in their own thing and their own greed. Yeah. So that's a little bit cool, but it's also sort of funny because it's like, yeah, they would not have remembered Irby.
Yeah.
And so they go back, they see a rock.
And it's a fake skeleton.
Yes, he turned into a fake skeleton because a rock fell in and the gas escaped, and that somehow killed him. Because, I mean, maybe he was stuck in the... I don't know how he died.
Something like that, but
sort of
who knows what could have happened, how... We never know exactly what happened. Maybe someone came in.
Maybe the gas was keeping him alive, and so when the gas stopped, it sort of all caught up to him like that. He hasn't been eating and stuff. Yeah. But then in that case, why would they be fined after the gas? I don't know.
The whole thing with being frozen like that is when you finally wake up, it's like you're the same age. It's like you're the same age as you were before. So it's like your body's in the same.
Yes, but if the gas got released earlier, then why did he die?
Probably what happened is he died of old age.
Well, no, because when the gas escaped, he was still the age that he was when he went in.
Yeah, but it was earlier, so...
Well, yeah, but then why didn't he get out of the box?
Maybe he couldn't. I don't know. Maybe he did, but then it was by the time he... I don't know.
Maybe he was still asleep, but then in that case, how did that happen? Because the gas was supposed to be keeping him asleep. It doesn't work.
Makes you wonder.
It does make you wonder. And not a good way, because it's like...
I like it.
Sort of know this kind of stuff. You like that you don't know how he died?
Yeah, that's the whole point of the Twilight Zone. Suspense and mystery.
Well, it's not a mystery, because they never explain it.
They're so casual about people dying.
Yeah, they're pretty casual.
Okay, he's dead.
Fade to black, somehow. I don't know how they filled up
Yeah. Anyway.
that big of a chunk of time. Anyways, fade up. The cruise wants Brooks to drive over to do something. Then Brooks is like, no, you're just going to steal the golden run. You drive. The cruise says, okay, and he runs over Brooks, and Brooks dies. Then the car crashes. The cruise is like, well, I guess we gotta walk. He barely skims it.
And somehow
he runs over his foot, and then he dies.
Yeah, it's like, whoa.
This is where it gets really a rip-off of I shot an arrow into the air where they're just walking. It's Farwell and the cruise, of course. Walking, oh, I'm tired, oh, I want to get in, blah, blah, blah. So Farwell has to rest. And they're like, we won't reach the next town until tomorrow.
Right.
And they're like, there are no cars. What if there's a bomb or a war? But there are planes.
And he's like, ha!
Yeah.
Disproven.
Yeah. And then Farwell's canteen is gone. He's like, I must have left it at the last place we stopped. And the cruise is like, oh, one drink is 1 bar of gold.
Oh.
Like from his canteen. And for some reason, clearly the cruise is the biggest jerk ever.
Yeah.
Farwell, for some reason, is like, okay, sounds good to me. Like, he obviously didn't, like, for some reason, he doesn't assume that this was all a
hoax.
A hoax. And so, he takes him up on the offer. Bar of gold, water. Now we have a montage. Give you the gold, give me the water. Give me the gold, give me the water.
Give me the water.
Later, things are looking pretty rough. They're so tired.
Like,
well, at least Farwell's really tired. Super hot. He's like, give me the water. And he's like, now it's gonna be 2 bars. And he's like, okay. Gives him 2 bars of gold, but then hits him over the head with the bar of gold, beats him up, and the cruise dies. Farwell is like laughing out, but then I'm crying because it killed you. Later, Farwell is walking, and he's like, but then he like collapses, and then a guy comes and he's like, hey, give us some water, and I drive into town and I'll give you a bar of gold.
And he's like, and you just see the legs, so it's like cool because you expect him to be like an alien or something.
Yeah, you just see the guy who comes up to him, you just see his legs, but then it's sort of not cool because then it's disappointing when he's not an alien, just a normal guy. But maybe it's sort of interesting. So his name's George. He goes over to his wife in their futuristic car.
Yeah, that makes up for it. The futuristic car, I guess, makes up for it.
And then he's like, trying to give me this bar of gold as if it was worth something. Must be on his rocker.
Okay, so to give you a visual, actually,
we'll put in a photo, but try to give them a visual.
It's like okay, have you ever seen that movie where the guy,
You're not gonna respond, but you can ask me.
It's the guy that plays the clarinet. He somehow
plays the clarinet?
No, he somehow goes like forward in time to like the way future, and the cars are like
it's many movies.
White.
He plays the clarinet.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. He's like, oh, and it's no, I'll tell you later. Anyway,
So it's like that. So then the wife is like, didn't they used to be worth something about 100 years ago? Yeah, it used to be used for money before they started manufacturing it. So now the irony is now it isn't worth anything. But it isn't that ironic because he never lived to experience the irony, you know? Wouldn't it have been sort of cooler if the guy told him, they manufacture gold. That isn't worth anything. Freaks out, and then he dies right as he realizes what he's done. Wouldn't that be sort of interesting?
Maybe.
And also, it would be even better if the cruise killed Farwell for some reason, and then he finds out about the whole gold thing, and then that's his comeuppance. That's his ironic comeuppance, is that he's the only one alive, but he doesn't spend the gold. Also, he doesn't die. I think that would be much better. The way it happens here, there are some interesting elements in that ending, but the twist sort of...
Could go back in time, talk to Rod Sterling.
Yes. If only I could, but then, it's an interesting idea, but it isn't executed as well as it could have been. Maybe if they put a little more time into it and revising it, they could have realized that this is the right way to go. My idea. They should have taken it. Oh well. Too late, am I right? So what did you think of the episode?
Definitely better than last week's. Last week's had so much filler. This week fit the Twilight Zone more. It was like all the suspense and like...
You're right. It is sort of more interesting, sort of more of a mystery than the last one.
We got
because
mystery on our hands.
It feels like there's more on the line somehow. It's bad. There are just a lot of little things that are done incorrectly. And it's like... It's just fundamentally broken, and the pieces don't fit together. It's just another Twilight Zone walking in the desert. I'm so hot, everything's bad, gotta drink the water. All around, really wouldn't recommend this one.
I'm a little more like enthusiastic about the Rowan. I thought it was, I mean, I'm not saying it's definitely not a 10 out of 10, I'm gonna say that now. But it was...
You never know.
It was good. It was, it had a much more interesting story. More like quirky like, characters.
You're right. It is more unique.
I love how they introduced the characters rather so like at the beginning.
It is more unique than just going back in time and seeing what it's like. They actually have an interesting sort of thing, like the suspended animation. That's sort of interesting. Yeah. Except big problem. It's sort of hard to tell why they're doing it. Wait.
8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, that's a. Nah, I would not go there. Oh, I forget. Oh, 4!
Wait, you thought this was worse than the last one? You gave the last one a 6.
I sure did. There's nothing more to say. I've said all there is to say. Bad episode. And I disagree with you, sir.
Okay, sir.
Maybe there will be another heated debate on next episode. It's not really a debate, because we're not trying to convince everyone of anything, but...
Yeah.
Anyways, next episode, we're going to be talking about the silence.
Silence of the Lambs.
Get it?
Oh.
Because we're being silent.
The camera doesn't know we're being silent.
Well, yeah, because the camera doesn't have a mind. It's just a dang camera. Just sitting there. What do you mean? Well, yeah, they don't, because we're talking, so of course they know we're not.
Okay, anyways, goodbye.
Oh, you're saying they don't have a mind. Oh, you're offending our viewers. Calvin says that you don't have a mind. Oh my gosh. Mindgate, everybody. We got Mindgate on our hands. Ooh. This is a big deal, a big controversy, because you said they had no mind. I can't believe it. Alright, still see us next week. See Calvin. You'll have to hate him. Because he said you had no mind. Alright, maybe we'll fire him. Start a petition. For his... Alright, anyways, the point is, goodbye!